Hello, everybody. Average Gamer here, and welcome to a kind of a news announcement about the upcoming skill tree update. So the skill tree is going to be updated by this coming Friday, the 24th, and we're going to get a new kind of a rundown on the PTS on the new skill tree. So with the new skill tree, a bunch of changes and all that stuff, which I'm going to get into. I've got a nice long thing here of notes, as you can see here. Kabonk. Lots of notes I want to go through of stuff I've kind of picked out, and we're going to go over things. So first thing is the changes to the economy. Basically what you need to know about this section right here is a few things. Number one is that now the cost of unlocking nodes is actually a lot cheaper. It's going to be around 5.4 million, which equals out to actually 60,000 C-bills per node instead of the 100,000 that it was before. And also XP is going to be almost cut in half as well. I think it was 75,000 when I did the math, or 74,000. And it's only going to cost now 800 XP instead of the 1,500 XP it was before. Significant cost. Pretty much everything's being cut in half, which is really good because one of the things that everyone complained about was the cost. Especially since now you can't actually swap modules between mechs. It's locked in. Well, before you could swap modules between mechs, so it makes sense there. It no longer is going to cost you MC experience or C-bills to unlock, or sorry, to relock an unlock node. So for example, if you recently decided to remove a skill node that you locked out, and you didn't want it anymore, you can just unlock it, no big deal. You hit the button and it doesn't charge you anything, it's locked again. Catch 22, you do not get your XP back. You actually don't get anything back from it. So there's no cost, you just click it, and that's it. Now it says you'll no longer return the XP you acquired on it. I'm assuming you're gonna get your C-bills back, your 60,000 C-bills like you did before. Or sorry, no, the other thing was before is you'd unlock it and you get your XP but not your C-bills. So this way, you're also not getting anything, but it's also not costing you anything. So, kind of a good thing, right? It's not going to cost you anything except that 400 XP, theoretically. Here's the thing. When you go to actually unlock it again, all you have to do in that case is pay 400 XP. So basically, you're just paying an additional 400 XP. It's going to cost you 1,200 XP, basically, to unlock one node and 60,000 C-bills. You click it, it locks itself back up. You don't get your refund of 800 XP, but later on when you go back to it and say, you know what, I actually do need this, it's a $400, it's a 400 XP charge, which is about one match. Which in my eyes, no big deal. Those are the main changes when it comes to the cost of things. Now what we're going to look at is the new firepower branch. Now before it was broken up into a whole bunch of different options. It was broken up into UAC, the UAC branch, the regular autocannon branch, Gauss branch, LB branch. Now it's all being consolidated from the sounds of it into one big one with a couple splits off it. The splits are going to be a little bit of missile, a little bit of ballistic, and a little bit of energy in regards to hemisphere, meaning I'm assuming it's going to be off to the side, basically, is what that means. For example, on the missile hemisphere will be things like missile spread nodes, obviously reducing your missile spread, which is pretty good. In the ballistic section of it will be things like UAC jam chance and Gauss extended charge. And then the energy hemisphere will have things like laser duration nodes, which isn't too bad. Everything else, so you're talking about weapon cooldown, heat gen, all that stuff, cooldown, is all going to be just generic in a firepower tree. The reason for this is because they found that certain mechs with certain builds and certain points kind of were outperforming. I definitely noticed this, that I was able to max out the PPCs, for example, on my summoner or any of my clan mechs, for example. I noticed I could kind of exploit this by throwing in as many single hardpoint mechs I could. So any mech I had that had a single hardpoint, especially for the clans, I would load up all those pods. Care less, obviously, about what pods have what augments to them, because I was going to max them out anyways. And you could easily break the system there. So now what it is every mech gets a generic automatic quirks for their weapons. So it'll be just weapon firepower, weapon cooldown, weapon heat gen, all this stuff. So every mech will get the same amount of weapon quirks. No mechs will be able to massively outdo others, which is what I like. But then you can also, on the side, kind of specialize the mech a little bit. Go for missile. Go to the missile hemisphere and get the missile-specific quirks if you wanted to. But also then go, to energy if you need to. That way you don't have to jump around. One of the things, too, I'm assuming, because it sounds like they're also making the branches a lot bigger and having to go down through a lot to get a lot. So I'm assuming the rewards will also be modified, so keep that in mind. The next one is survival. The way they see the survival is they're happy about the fact that everyone basically maxed out the survival tree, but they thought it should be more of a give-take, or should be more of a thought-through. You have to think about what you're going to take. So what they've done is they want to give it a compelling give-take scenario for your survival. Pretty much, do you want to go structure or armor is what I'm thinking is maybe where they're going. They've altered the overall layout of the skills of the tree. They basically spread the bonuses over a greater number of nodes. I'm thinking they made it probably 2 or 3 times bigger. Basically, to unlock the full potential of structure and armor, or structure or armor, is going to need a lot more investment, and you're going to need to evaluate the commitment that you want to make to these two augments a lot more. So what that tells me is they're basically making it bigger. They're probably reducing the bonuses you're getting, or making them greater the further you go down. But they're pretty much setting it up so that you have to go in one direction or the other if you want to give that big beefy mech. Now, mind you, here's the thing. With the reduction of the firepower quirks, that is, at least in my eyes, gonna make me contemplate min-maxing in this case. So we're definitely going to get some min-max skill trees set up for generically, like if you want to run an energy boat, this is your min-max for an energy boat. For a brawler, for a long-range build, this is what you want to run. For, the following, type of build, here's the following skill tree. So we're probably going to get more role-playing metas for the skill tree, which in my eyes isn't too bad, because then theoretically it's not about the mech that's the meta. It actually will be about the skill tree. Mobility. So they've redone the mobility. They've consolidated the upper and lower torso skills in the mobility tree, and they made their values. They adjusted the values as well, which would be pretty interesting. Jump jets, which is my big thing. I love the way jump jets are on in the skill tree so far. They've boosted the effects provided in the from the investments in jump jets, giving basically mechs that are with jump jets the more compelling option of using jump jets now. My eyes, if I have my Timberwolf, I'm going, depending on what weapons I put on it, I'm going full energy option, full firepower, full armor, full jump jets. And that's it. Firepower, armor, jump jets, and I am going to try and rip people to pieces using 6 medium pulse, 8 medium pulse if I can. What? No, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 9 medium pulse. Sorry, my bad. So overall, they're making this way better. They're increasing it. They're basically boosting it up. I'm looking forward to that. Plus, they're also adding another node that's aimed at reducing the heat generated by jump jets. Right now, if you do jump in a jump jet mech, you'll notice either A, your heat doesn't move if you're in the air, or B, it will move and it'll slowly creep up, like really, really slowly. That's if you're jumping a long, long time, for example. Now, from the sounds of it, you may be able to jump up and cool off at the same time. I'm looking forward to that 130, 140 kph with mask Shadowcat running across the map on Grim Plexus, jumping off the top base, maxing out my jump jets, and just cruising across the top of the map. Just PPCing people while I'm in the air and calling out airstrikes and stuff like that. It'd be very entertaining. Operations. So just like they did with their survival option there, they are spreading it out like crazy, which is pretty good. They're spreading it basically across a greater amount of nodes. So if I'm not mistaken, it's going to probably be the same bonus. It's just more nodes to pick from. Interlocking, obviously, the rewards either increasing slowly or what have you. Basically, to unlock the full potential of the operations option is going to take a lot of investment, basically. Basically, what they're trying to do is give everyone the same amount of options, still 91, but give everyone more ability. Basically, the thought of, well, shit, now I got to unlock more. So there's more to unlock now from the sounds of it. When it comes to operations, jump jets, survivability, what else? Oh, but we're going to get into other stuff like auxiliary and all that stuff, where there's a lot more options to pick outside of just the firepower, where they've kind of crunched it down a little bit, which is interesting. Which is making them think, well, for operations, I can't remember exactly what fell under operations. I think like cool running was under there, and speed tweak, I think, was under that. That may have been under mobility. I can't remember. The sensor branch, they're not touching it. It's being left as is. To be honest, I don't even remember really spending much on there. Auxiliary branch. This, in my eyes, is going to be a biggie. So for all those players like myself who like to play more of a supportive role in the game, more a backup and support, artillery strike, airstrike, UAV player who likes to kind of sit back and help do the push when the push comes, but not really at the front of the fight, and likes to dish out their pain when they can, and not be the massive aggressive player, but sit back and support the team itself as in a whole. Well, there's now an actual skill tree for you. The auxiliary branch, basically, they're changing it up so that let's just get into it. For example, they're going to give people the ability to carry possibly more consumables. Yeah, that means more artillery, more airstrikes, more UAVs, more cool shots. In this also, specifically, there's going to be benefits to all of them as well. So boost to cool shots, strike consumables, artillery, airstrikes, UAVs, things like that. I'm looking forward to this. As a more of a supportive mech, these things are going to be insanely awesome. Can you imagine a Locust carrying 2 airstrikes, 2 UAVs? The UAVs also have enhanced range. And maybe armor. I don't know if that's an option. That'd be kind of cool. But they'd have enhanced range. So it pops the UAV, sees everybody within a massive range, turns around, jumps up, drops an airstrike, and then turns and runs away. Goes and does the thing, pops another UAV, sees a huge massive area again, sees a whole bunch of people, boom, drops an artillery strike or another airstrike. This gives lights, especially the lights that are very scouty and all that stuff, are really, really, really going to be utilized and useful in a supportive role now. Critical hits, there was an issue with the critical hit system in MechWarrior for the skill tree session. They fixed it. Basically, the bug was increasing the chances of crits, and they've basically fixed that. It basically significantly increased, as they put it here. Anticipated bug in the way crit chances were being determined significantly increased the chances of a critical hit. So they fixed it, which is pretty good. Down here, all of this is the new engine change up till here-ish. So now they're disassociating mech mobility attributes with the engine ratings. First off, I want to mention the way the engines are right now. It affects your torso speed and all that stuff to a certain point. At least that's what I get the indication of. Basically, they wanted to do from the sound. They basically wanted to do more of a give take. The way they put it here is, well, let's get into it. So engine selection has long been a balanced sore spot in MWO. Too much has been gained by upgrading engines to higher ratings with little opportunity for providing a compelling give and take between the lighter, slower engines against the heavier, faster engines. The system also created a dynamic where baseline mech viability could be dramatically impacted by the inherent engine restrictions of a mech. These issues only compounded Intersphere and Clan inabilities, or imbalance, with Clan mechs fielding much heavier engines than their Intersphere counterparts, with no sacrifice to load it, due to fundamental lighter equipment. With the above issues in mind, we intend to break baseline mobility characteristics away from engines. Mobility will instead be determined by the overall tonnage of the chassis. It's important to note that this will not affect the speed of a mech, while it will remain tied to the engine, meaning that if your mech goes 100 kph, it's going 100 kph. This change will significantly design in the context of the skill tree, meaning this change is only being done because of the skill tree. But was omitted from the first PTS as we continued to finalize some work required for implementing it. Meaning, they were probably going to wait till next month and do this on a PTS and see how everyone wanted it, but they're just including it in this one. With the work complete, the system is now fully displayed in the upcoming PTS update, which is coming Friday. At a top-down level, you can expect mobility now to be roughly equal across tonnage lines. While their speeds will differ, an urban mech will now have the same mobility attributes as an Arctic Cheetah, while a Kodiak will share the same mobility attributes as an Atlas. This change will not only intend to improve baseline balance between mechs, tech bases, and engines, but also to accomplish one of the stated design goals of the skill tree system. That is to facilitate a drastic reduction in inherent mech quirks. Stay with me. As a result of this change, we will be removing all current mobility quirks from Inner Sphere battle mechs and Clan Center Torso Omnipods. Non-Center Torso Omnipods with a set of 8 mobility quirks will remain. Meaning if you have all 8 and you get like a little torso twist better, no big deal. Many mechs previously balanced around mobility quirks will instead see those quirks integrated into their inherent mobility attributes of the battle mech. That's the main line right there. Meaning that if mechs have been balanced, specifically, obviously, we're looking at the Inner Sphere mechs. Mechs that have been balanced specifically with torso twisting in mind. This isn't, I don't think it's in, speed up, speed down thing. Like acceleration, deacceleration, but I think this is more torso twist than anything. So any mech that's got torso twist quirks for balancing purposes, we'll keep them. But what's going to happen is they're going to say, this is a medium mech. This is how a medium mech should work. Now, this mech over here, it was balanced with an additional 3% to its torso twist. Its now baseline is whatever that number is plus that 3%. So that is now its baseline. So you're going to get different mechs at different torso twists and different speeds at all ranges now. But there is just a generic baseline. This is how physics work, and this is a baseline for this mech. Or this weight class. Now, on a mech by mech basis, what quirks and what changes did we give it to give it that better, to balance it out? Meaning that right what that line means in my eyes is that most of the mechs are going to stay the same, because if they were balanced and they have them on there, that tells me right there that they're staying. Those inherent mobility attributes will be evaluated and adjusted against similar mechs within their tonnage bracket. For example, the Phoenix Hawk will be provided with higher baseline mobility stats compared to a Blackjack, which makes sense. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to look at the mechs themselves, see how they react to each other, and slowly work on them from there, which is pretty good. This changes allow for the following changes in the skill tree. Now remember, this is being done in conjunction with the skill tree. So in my eyes, most mechs will probably feel the same. You won't really feel much of a difference, though obviously the odd one here and there may be different. So it allows the following. With mobility quirks now rolled into the baseline mobility attributes of a mech, skill nodes will have a greater influence over the final mobility attributes of a mech when compared to their impact previously seen in the quirk system. Meaning, you're going to see an improvement when you put on these things. This also creates greater value for mobility-based skill bonuses for mechs which possess naturally high mobility attributes. Meaning, mechs that already have a really good mobility rating, you're going to obviously want to make them even more mobile because you're just used to them high in mobility. Therefore, you're going to want to spend more money on mobility. Seamless. Streamlines. Whoops. Streamlines the influence of the skill tree on mech mobility, providing more transparency within the mech lab in terms of how skill nodes influence the mobility of a mech. That's a big one right there. Right now, for example, if you were in your mech lab prior to the skill tree, if you look at the very bottom right-hand corner when you highlight a mech, it shows you its torso twist, the angle, and the actual transverse speed, the speed upon which it moves. It's a military term that we use for tanks. The transverse speed is blank per second. That's how fast the turret itself turns right to left. Of any kind of weapon that has a turret, transverse speed is basically the speed it turns at. So that you look at the transverse speed of your torso, it will tell you it's blank per second. And it even shows you how far you can move in, in a kind of like a little missing circular pie form thing. I smell mustard. I can smell a lot of smells like someone poured mustard in my room. Holy crap, that's a lot of mustard smell. Better not be having a seizure. Oh wait, no, that's burnt toast. Dr. Penfield, I smell burnt toast. But anyway, so now, right now, if you look at those information, from what I've been told and from the way it's been explained to me by a few other people, that doesn't actually show your quirks. The quirks do not actually reflect that at all. What this is telling me, and we'll find it on Friday, is that we will now see, and it'll actually show us the impact. It'll actually tell us what the impacts of these quirks are going to be, which we're going to call them, I can't remember what the hell they were called, but these, enhancements will be. Now, mind you, still PTS, so they're still looking for more information back and all that stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm waiting to see with this whole mobility change and stuff, just how well it's going to make these mechs. I'm thinking this is going to increase, lights, and just how more fun lights will be. They're going to be probably a lot faster, more maneuverable, running around, doing a lot of shooting, a lot of killing, a lot of fun. But anyways, that is that for me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys. Whoops, wrong button. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.